Good afternoon, my friends. It's lovely to see you again. I hope you're going to enjoy your Halloween tomorrow. But in today's video, I want to just open a discussion about some of the cards in Gwent. So there's some cards that we're seeing a lot, a hell of a lot now. And I want to just open a discussion about whether you think they're okay or whether they need changing. And some ideas that have been thrown around which could be quite good for it. And there's other cards that I want to discuss which are a solution to a problem. And we'll see how that goes and stuff. So let's just get in, shall we? This is a very good card. You may have noticed it's a very good card. A lot of people take it. It's in most decks. And the reason for it is, although it's only going to be about 6 or 7 value in a round, probably, it's so flexible in what you can do with it. It can activate card combos like Regis or Shiru. It can set up things for Epidemic, Scorch, Geralt Igni. It can do the extra bit of removal you need, plus a card in hand. It allows you to use this ability and then use the card combos in the same turn, whereas normally you wouldn't be able to. So if you've got this card on your side and the opponent's got a Wyvern Scale Shield, if there's a 1 strength unit and he buffs it with a Wyvern Scale Shield, you can still activate your Regis because you ping it with this and then you do your card. So it kind of sets up that aspect as well. Not only that, it gains some overall deck strategies, enables those like Bloodthirst from Skellige, allows you to kill cards that are played against you like Cow Carcasses or wound your own units like Queen's Guard. It just has such flexibility through the entirety of the game. It's just so good, you know. For this reason, everyone's running, it seems to be about 2 artifact removals now, and Mastercrafted Spear, it's not necessarily one of the more important ones. Like I said, it's only going to gain 6 or 7 value, but it enables things. You've got Thunderbolt Potions, which they keep things safe. They enable bigger glaze, which actually then gets doubled, so the 6 value turns into 12 value. Or that Xavier, which again compiles the issue. So Thunderbolts can be a bit more deadly. Then you've got Sihil, which is a big threat. So basically what I'm saying here is, the Mastercrafted Spears are amazing. And we've seen a lot of artifact decks appear where they play a lot of artifacts and you can't interact with anything. And this really brings us down to whether you think Mastercrafted Spears are that good. So regarding the Mastercrafted Spear, if we say that it's not okay, so it's not okay, I guess we have to say why it's not okay. And to be honest, I think most people's reason it's not okay is that you can play artifacts and activate them. They think the Mastercrafted Spear is probably fine as long as you have to play units along with that. Okay, the Mastercrafted Spear itself is not the problem. It's more along the problem of artifacts in general and the fact that you can play them without having to commit to any units, and then you can just play some big power plays at the end, and people will waste their damaging sources because they've got nothing to hit. And we saw this with the game that I've played recently, which is it's like a tall woodland with hardly any units, so you just play your witches and big units right at the very end. And these gain value, so that's the issue there. The issue is not Mastercrafted Spear, but rather the issue of no units of Mastercrafted Spear. So some of the cooler ideas that we've had to solve this particular issue is that we treat artifacts, or maybe some artifacts, I don't know, I haven't really gone that deep into it, like Magic the Gathering artifacts, more like the equipments. So basically you get this card and you have to equip it to a particular card. Okay, so you have to have a unit on the board for this to work. You have to equip it to that unit, and then that unit can use the Mastercrafted Spear, which actually makes sense because then, that unit is holding a spear. Now, it does seem a bit weird if you get a Savage Bear and suddenly it's starting to use Mastercrafted Spear, or you've got like a Cambi and it's jabbing you with a thing, and this is like a chicken. But the general idea is that you equip this card to a thing, and when that unit dies, the Mastercrafted Spear is still on the board, but you have to equip it to something else. Now, in Magic the Gathering, there's an equipment cost to actually equipping that equipment to a unit, to a minion. And then, obviously, if that unit dies, then you have to pay mana to equip it somewhere else. I don't foresee that working here, unless when you equip it, you lose a strength or something. I don't know why that would be the case, but there's no real cost to equipping this. I don't think it needs to have a cost. It basically is just there as a mechanic to ensure that you have to have units on the board for all your Mastercrafted stuff to work. And in this particular scenario, with this particular one, it would mean that you have to have a 1-to-1 split of units to artifacts at the minimum, I think. So basically, yeah, if you have 5 artifacts on the board, you need 5 units, 1 for each artifact, providing the artifacts need to be used, all of them. Like Sihil, Mastercrafted Spear, Wyvern Scale Shield, they make sense to have to be equipped to a unit. Frightener doesn't make sense, that needs to be equipped to a unit. The Frightener and the Phoenix, again, they don't seem to make sense. So it'd be on a case-by-case basis like that. Now, before we go on to the second idea that someone had, I think it was me that had that idea. The premise of actually equipping a card, in terms of CD Projekt Red enabling and doing this particular change, is actually a lot of work. There's no game code or method in the game for equipping anything. So this would be actually quite a drastic change in order to actually make that mechanic work. The benefits of that would be that when a card is actually equipped to a unit, it would only probably take one row slot, so you'd actually get the row limit will be decreased in that case. So moving on to the second idea, which is something I think I definitely came up with, but other people probably, it's, a simultaneous idea most likely, and this is that artifacts need to be adjacent to a unit in order to be usable. Now, the reason I brought up CD Projekt Red man hours and like coding and stuff like that is because while equipping cards is something which isn't implemented, adjacency is something that's already in the game. We can check whether adjacent units happen and stuff like that. So it would make sense. It's an easy thing, and it would still require units to be on the board, but now it's a ratio of 2-to-1. 2 artifacts per 1 unit at the minimum, because you put it in the middle and left and right the artifacts can work. So they can use 2 spears, or they can use a spear and a shield, I suppose, but that's definitely a decent option. I think that's a reasonably good option. It doesn't change the row limit. Artifacts still take up a space. Now, there's the other aspect that you've got to consider in terms of if you destroy that unit in the middle, controlling those 2 artifacts. The artifacts remain, of course they do. It adds an element of control, which is not just basically artifact removal binary. You're allowed to actually kill the unit, but it should always be on the player who's playing the artifact in order to actually be able to issue this. You shouldn't, because we know removal is super strong right now. So if you play a unit and it survives, then you place a unit between 2 artifacts, and then the opponent just dead, and then you place a unit in between the 2 artifacts, dead. Units between the 2 artifacts, dead. Right? It should always be like Moonlight. No, not like Moonlight, like Weather was. I should be able to place my unit between the 2 artifacts and trigger them. If they destroy the unit, sure, it's negative for me. I have to put another unit in the middle of these artifacts, which may not be in the right row, which is another element of row decision. I may want to play this unit on the melee to get its ability, but if I don't play him on the range where my 2 artifacts are, I'm not going to get their ability, okay? But if I place him on the range row, I should be able to use the 2 abilities. They kill him. I play another unit, use the 2 abilities. They kill him. So it's not necessarily preventing the artifacts from being used, because otherwise that's just makes them garbage. But it allows more counterplay. I can destroy units, and if they have to make a choice or put another unit there, I can just move a unit to a different row, which again disables the artifacts if there's nothing in the middle there. So it also means for decks that are like low on units, it reduces that issue. They can't play loads of artifacts, get loads of value from them. They have to play some units in order to do that. So whether it's all artifacts, like I said, Frightener and Phoenix don't seem to make sense. So I think case by case basis is a good idea. Let me know what you think about those ideas. I think they are absolutely solidly sound. We're not trying to weaken artifacts, but just trying to make them seem fair. More counterplay the better. And to be honest, I don't see a negative with the particular things that I've just proposed there. Let me know what you think. Okay.